starts listening. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. Write all your answers in the listening question booklet. At the end of the real test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1 on page 2 of your question booklet. Section 1. You will hear a woman called Mrs. Reynolds being interviewed by a police officer about an incident she saw the previous evening. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5 on pages 2 and 3. You will see that there is an example which has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Well, if you can just tell me everything you remember. It doesn't matter how trivial it seems. What may seem unimportant to you may not be unimportant to us.
OK, I'll do what I can, officer. Well, as I said, I'd just come out of the cinema on the high street, so it was about 8 o'clock, just before 8 in fact. I'd been to see a film with a friend, and she'd just gone off home. So I was just standing there wondering what to do, whether to go and have a cup of coffee somewhere or not.
Mrs. Reynolds was standing outside the cinema, so B has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Well, if you can just tell me everything you remember. It doesn't matter how trivial it seems. What may seem unimportant to you may not be unimportant to us.
OK, I'll do what I can, officer. Well, as I said, I'd just come out of the cinema on the high street, so it was about 8 o'clock, just before 8 in fact. I'd been to see a film with a friend, and she'd just gone off home. So I was just standing there wondering what to do, whether to go and have a cup of coffee somewhere or not. I was just standing there, minding my own business, when I suddenly heard someone shouting directly opposite me outside the library. Not screaming, just shouting. It sounded like the voice of an elderly woman. "They've got my bag! They've got my bag!" she was shouting. Then these 2 men raced past me, going like the wind, straight down the street and round the corner into West Street. It all happened so quickly, I think they must have had a car waiting for them there, because I heard one drive off at top speed. Well, I didn't know what on earth to do, whether to try and chase them, whether to ring the police, or whether to go and see if she was all right. Another woman was running up behind me, so I shouted back at her to go and call the police. Anyway, when I got to the woman, she seemed to be all right, thank goodness. A bit shaken, but OK. I think I was much more upset than she was. But all in all, she was pretty calm. I don't think I would have been, but apparently it had happened to her once before, so maybe that's why. You know, I've got a friend who refuses to go out alone anywhere after 6 o'clock now. What's this town coming to?
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10 on page 3. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Well, anyway, she just kept saying, I didn't see a thing. I didn't see a thing. One of them had just pushed her from behind, and as she put out a hand to steady herself, the other one had just taken the bag from under her arm, and then he raced off across the road. I asked her what she'd had in it, and she said she'd had her purse with about £15 in it, but no chequebook or cards or things like that. And luckily, she had her front door key in her pocket. Oh, and she'd had her bus pass taken too.
Let's get back to the two men, if we can. Just tell me everything you can remember about them.
Well, there was a younger one and an older one.
Well, let's start with the younger one, shall we?
Well, age first then. He only looked about 17, not more, something like that. Neither very tall nor small. Sort of slim build. Not anybody you'd notice. Nothing particularly special about him. An ordinary-looking sort of bloke. He had curly black hair, which was quite long, but apart from that, as I say, not someone you'd notice in a crowd. Nothing really distinct about him at all. But the other one, the older one, he was different.
Different?
Yes, different. I feel as if I'd know him anywhere again. I got more of a look at him because he ran across the road more slowly than the younger man. I remember being surprised because he was quite a bit older than the other one. I'd say about 35. Funny, because you don't think of people of that age snatching handbags in broad daylight like that, do you? He was quite a bit smaller than the other man and medium build.
What did he look like? You didn't give the officer much information last night.
Well, I did get quite a good look at his face. No beard or moustache, clean-shaven, and quite smart-looking, really. He had light brown hair cut very short, a sort of army haircut. And there was another thing. Thinking about it all last night, over and over again, I'm almost sure he had a small scar on his chin. Now, I didn't tell the other policeman that last night, but in my mind, each time I see his face, I can see one.
A scar on his chin. That could be important. Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds. You've been really helpful. If you really think you'd recognise him again, then what we'd like you to do later this morning, if you can, is to come down to the police station and look at a few photographs for us. See if any of those ring a bell.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2 on page 4.
Section 2. You will hear a phone conversation giving information about a health and fitness centre. Before you hear the talk, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now, listen carefully to the first part of the talk and answer questions 11 to 16. Hello?
Hello, is that Miss Heidi Jones?
Yes?
Good morning, Miss Jones. I'd like to take a few minutes of your time to tell you about the Seven Oaks Health and Fitness Centre, which is in your suburb. Would that be convenient?
Okay.
Well, the centre's not far from you. It's on the corner of Marion Street and Giles Street and has a large car park. It's open every day of the week, opening on weekdays at 6 a.m. and at 9 a.m. at the weekend. It closes at 9:30 p.m. Monday to Friday and on Saturday at 4 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. We also have childcare Monday to Saturday from 9 in the morning until midday for a small extra charge, so you can leave your children in safe hands while you attend one of our classes, or perhaps have a swim, or if you just want to relax in the spa and sauna or steam room. Talking of classes, we have a very wide range which are designed to suit all different levels of fitness and individual needs. I mentioned the pool just now. Well, in addition to swimming laps or just relaxing, we also offer aqua aerobic classes, which are 45-minute classes that use the therapeutic effects of water. This provides a very safe and effective exercise and is suitable for all fitness levels, as well as being a lot of fun. Many people who haven't been exercising for a while start in the aqua classes, as do people who need to take care after hospital surgery, for example. These classes are very popular and are scheduled every weekday, Monday to Friday, and on Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning. Another very popular activity in the pool area is learning to swim, and these swimming classes are held at 4 p.m. every weekday and in the mornings at the weekend. By the way, they're open to both adults and children of any age.
Before the talk continues, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now, as the talk continues, answer questions 17 to 20.
Now, it would take too much of your time to tell you in detail about all our programs, as we have a very wide range of activities at different times. However, I'll just outline some of them. Our super circuit classes are extremely popular, and you get a good aerobic workout while toning your muscles. They're easy to learn, as you combine using hydraulic equipment with exercises guaranteed to give you a good cardio workout. The teachers are very good and there's a fun atmosphere. And the classes are very effective in assisting weight loss, relieving stress, lowering blood pressure and generally increasing fitness. Oh, and I haven't mentioned our range of aerobic and step classes of different types which suit all levels. Our specially designed aerobics room holds over 55 people, and our highly qualified and trained staff can advise you as to which class might suit you. We are inviting you to a free 1-week trial period when you can come and try any of the classes or activities before you make the decision to join. By the way, there is also a large and very well-equipped gym where we offer free fitness assessments, and you can have an individual program designed just for you. Also, the cardiovascular room has the latest range of machines which help you burn fat, increase your fitness, or just warm up. They're very popular as you can forget all about the calorie burning by watching your favourite music videos on TV while you exercise. Right now we have a very special new member joining fee offer, which allows 2 memberships for the price of 1, a real bargain. So if you can, bring along a friend who'd like to get fit as well in time for summer. Come along and try us out. You can meet the staff. Try out some of the classes for a week, absolutely free. And then, if you like us, sign up for only $110 each for 6 months. Thanks for taking the time to learn about the centre, and I hope we'll see you there soon, Heidi. I'll put one of our brochures in the mail for you right now. Bye for now.
That is the end of section 2. You have half a minute to check your answers.
Section 3. You will hear 3 students talking about their study programs. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 23 on page 6. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 23.
Hi, Elaine. I was hoping I'd see you here. How are things?
All right. You?
Not bad, but I'm beginning to worry about that assignment.
What, the one on theory and practice?
Yes.
When's it got to be in by?
Next Thursday. And I just can't get to grips with it.
Yes, it's a tricky one. I'm hoping to get down to it over the weekend. I'll tell you what, there's Dinah. Let's see if she has any pearls of wisdom on the subject. She took the theory and practice option last year, didn't she? And got an A+ for it, I think.
How does she do it?
Oh, let's ask her. Hi, Dinah. Hard at work?
Not exactly. The lecture's just been cancelled, so I've suddenly got a free morning on my hands.
Oh, that's lucky. You've met Neil, haven't you?
Yes.
We were just talking about the theory and practice assignment we've got to hand in next. Can we just pick your brains a moment?
How far have you got with it?
Well, still at the reading stage, really.
Are you? Well, one bit of advice I definitely give is not to spend hours wading through that massive volume by Jesperson. It really isn't very helpful. I think the only reason they keep it on the reading list is that the library has got so many copies of it. Personally, I found the essential source was Parisi. Have you read her yet?
Parisi? Don't think so.
That's a great book. It must be on your reading list.
Right.
Another one I found very useful was the article called something like Practical Theories by, was it Williams or Willard? Yes, Willard. Also, if you want to look at case studies, that small book of Ron Brown's has got some interesting stuff in. You know the one I mean?
Ron Brown. Yes, I looked for it in the library, but it was out on loan.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 24 to 30 on page 7. Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30.
Yes, it's a very popular book. Did you try the recall system?
The what?
Don't you use the recall system? You should, you know. You just have to take a pink slip from any of the librarian's desks, fill the details of the book in, put your departmental address on the back, your departmental address, not your home address, and hand the slip in at the information desk. Then check the mail in your department twice a day, say at 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, for a slip telling you the book is ready to collect. Last week, I recalled a book at lunchtime and got the slip telling me it was ready just 4 hours later. That was exceptional. It usually takes about 3 days.
I didn't know you could do that. Is it expensive?
No. There's a nominal charge, 25 pence a book, I think. It's well worth it if you're preparing for an assignment. Are you going to be working together on it?
I'm not sure.
I would if I were you. You get so much more out of the assignment that way.
But surely the tutors would notice that our essays were the same.
No. I'm certainly not suggesting you should actually write the thing together. I'm talking about when you first start on a big assignment. I think it's a good idea to find 2 or 3 others on the course who live near you and divide up the reading load between you. Then you can meet up again a few days later and take it in turns to summarize your reading for each other. At the next stage, we go round the group explaining our essay plans, which makes it easier for individuals then to go off and write the first draft of their essay on their own. Later on, we usually exchange drafts and give feedback in the group before finally writing our essays individually.
Do you really do all that?
Usually, yes. It makes the whole thing much easier and more enjoyable.
Right. Well, I think I need another coffee before getting started. Can I get you one?
Yes, why not?
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now, turn to section 4. Section 4. You will hear a talk given by Dr. Miranda James. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 35. Now, listen carefully to the talk and answer questions 31 to 35.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first in a series of talks we have arranged for the Overseas Students Association this semester. Dr. James has very kindly agreed to speak to us today on the topic of public speaking, and judging from the large numbers of you here, it's clearly a subject of great interest and relevance. Dr. James.
Hello. It's good to see so many of you here, and hopefully what I'm going to tell you will be useful to you both here at the university and in your future employment. Many people avoid speaking publicly, by which I mean in front of, say, 10 or more people. Not because they lack the ability, but mainly because they lack confidence, which is really only due to lack of practice. Today, as a consequence of the influence of television, audiences expect speakers to be relatively brief and to the point, in addition to being well-informed and interesting or entertaining. Probably the most important part of public speaking is what you do beforehand. by which I mean preparation. This includes practical details, such as knowing precisely what your topic is and exactly how long you are expected to talk for. You should also plan the content thoroughly. A good strategy is to write out the content as you intend to say it, and then make brief notes, preferably on small cards, which you use to talk from. This way you sound more natural. You incorporate pauses while you look at your notes, and you can then look at your audience while you are speaking. Never read your speech without looking at the audience. Eye contact is a very important part of communicating with an audience. So deliberately move your head and look around at your audience. Pauses are important, as most people, when they are nervous, tend to rush through their speech.
Now you have some time to look at questions 36 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 36 to 40.
Practice speaking slowly. This gives you more time to pronounce your words correctly. It's always easier for your audience to listen to someone whose speaking is clear and calmly paced, so that they can understand the ideas being explained. And the bigger the group, the more slowly you should speak. Remember to project your voice, speaking clearly to the person furthest away from you. It's a good idea to rehearse and record yourself. Pay attention to your intonation when you listen to yourself. It's even harder if you're speaking in a second language, I would imagine. But there's nothing worse than listening to a flat, monotonous voice. So try to vary your tone and rhythm. This will add meaning to your words. Lastly, pay attention to both your posture and your gestures. A confident person stands or sits in a small group with their head up, chin out, and shoulders back. Try to avoid scratching or fiddling with your hair or beard, or pens, jewellery, and so on. These movements can distract and irritate your audience. Yet you may be unaware of them yourself. Another reason for rehearsing, preferably with feedback from a friend, or better still, on video. I hope these few tips will make your experience of speaking in public a little easier. Remember, practice makes perfect.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the test. Now, check your score